everyone. Welcome to our crash course in Church Connect. My name is Wes.
My name is Matt.
And today we're going to walk you through everything you need to know about getting Church Connect all set up. Oh my goodness, Matt, this is going to be a really packed webinar.
It's going to be packed with a lot of information and a lot of people. We are already seeing a lot of people sign in and introduce themselves. So welcome everyone today to our webinar. We really appreciate you joining us today.
Now, before we start going into all the nitty-gritty of everything in Church Connect, just want to let everybody know of a couple things. Number one, if you have not yet joined our Facebook group, you totally should. That's just such a great place to talk to other ChurchTrac users from all around the world, learn what others are doing with their Church Connect perhaps, and everything else in between. And if you like watching videos on how to learn how to do things, tell them about our YouTube channel.
We have a YouTube channel with over 100 videos you can watch that help you unlock all the potential of your ChurchTrac account. So go ahead and go to youtube.com, search ChurchTrac software, and subscribe for any future videos, including this one. This will be up in 2 or 3 days after today.
And we're currently live on YouTube right now too, which is kind of cool. So before I even show all the things of Church Connect, how's everybody doing so far? Are you doing well? Are you feeling confident about learning how to set up Church Connect and everything? Let us know in the chat. Now, we will be having our Q&A time at the very end, so hold tight. If you do have any questions regarding the webinar itself, just let us know in the chat. But we will be answering all your questions at the end, just because we have so much content to go through and such little time to do it. So Matt, are you ready?
I'm ready. I'm excited. Are you excited?
I'm super excited, just because Church Connect is probably one of my favorite features of ChurchTrac. So
yeah, it's filled with lots of potential for you and your church, so we're ready to show you what you can do with it.
Awesome. Well, let's dive in, everybody. So today, we're going to talk about, number one, what is Church Connect? So we're going to talk about what that is and how to use it. We're going to talk about sharing your Church Connect page. Then we're going to dive into really customizing everything in Church Connect, so how you do that. And then we'll have a couple frequently asked questions that we're going to address that we get asked probably daily, I would say, Matt. Would you say so?
All the time. And we get support tickets all day long from churches just like yours. And a lot of them are asking how to utilize Church Connect to advance their ministry and improve their digital footprint. Yeah.
And speaking of help, anytime you need help in ChurchTrac, I always remind everyone, all you have to do is click that green help button at the top right of the software. I'll zoom in just in case you're on a small screen, but if you click that help button, that will take you to our online user guide. You can create a support ticket. You can ask us a question by scheduling a phone call. So we provide you a lot of different ways to get support. Okay, well, let's go ahead and dive into Church Connect. Now, before I start showing all the stuff of how to set it up and everything, I first want to just kind of start at square one. And so we're going to show real briefly just what Church Connect is and what it can do for your ministry. And so I'm going to go ahead and pull out my cell phone here. And so if you're watching and you're wondering, well, what is Church Connect, Wes? Is it a website? Is it an app? Is it a member portal for my people? Yes, it's all of those things. And so I've got Church Connect right here downloaded onto my phone. And so what I'm going to do is go ahead and click the app icon. And now here's my Church Connect. So from my Church Connect, these are what we call Connect cards. And you can create Connect cards for all sorts of things. And we're going to dive into what that means in a little bit. But here I can maybe get connected with the church and fill out a form card, maybe listen to the sermon or a live stream. I can give online. I can submit prayer requests. Maybe I want to learn more about the church. You can customize this out with all the different colors you want to use. You can put your own images, which is what I've done here, and really just make this thing sharp. And what's so cool about this is included with every ChurchTrac Standard and Plus subscription. And so it's basically for free, I would say, Matt. So many things going on here, and I'd just like to quickly show that. Now, let's dive into the specifics and everything. And while Matt's coming back up here, I always like to pose this question, and we ask this question probably in every welcome webinar we do, and that is, describe your church website in 3 words or less. So in 3 words or less, tell us about your church website in the chat. Is it fresh and cool? Is it, I don't know, what are some of the things people have told us in the past, Matt?
We've seen old and busted. We've seen unchanging like Jesus. That's probably my favorite. I bring that up all the time. I just reopened chat because we want you to have a chance to answer this question and share it here in chat with us. We'll read some of these responses in a second.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's great and beautiful. Other times it's expensive and not user friendly.
Yeah, and one thing we find when we're working with churches every day on a one-on-one basis, when we ask them about their website, they usually fall into one of three camps. They either fall into camp number 1, where they don't have a website at all, or they fall into camp number 2, where they have a website, but it's just kind of like, oh, I wish it was better, it's never updated, it's slow, stuff like that. And then they fall into camp number 3, where they have a website, they love it, it's easy for them to keep it very fresh with new content. And so what's so great about Church Connect is no matter which place you fall into, whether you're in camp number 1 or 2 or 3, Church Connect has something great to offer you for that. So let's see here some of the things that anybody saying yet in the chat, what their website is in 3 words or less.
Simple, nothing fancy. Hard to update. Yeah, we hear that a lot. Old and outdated. Yeah, that's another very common one.
Non-existent.
Busy and cluttered. Tina said not updated in 2 years. That's more than 3 words, but we'll give you a pass, Tina.
Yeah.
Old style, needs a lot of help. Lame, outdated, and boring, says Jan Stafford.
Oh, lame, no! All right, well, at the end of this webinar today, you're not going to have a lame website because you're going to be able to start going through and creating your Church Connect. So let's go ahead and dive into actually sharing your Church Connect and what that looks like. And so I'm going to go ahead and go to the settings in ChurchTrac because that's where all this stuff lives. And then I'm going to click the Church Connect tab. All right, and so this is where we access everything Church Connect related. And so Matt, tell them about how we share it.
Well, the first way to share it is with a customizable URL and that QR code right below the URL on the left-hand side of the screen. Now, you can customize your URL. All you have to do is when you first go to that Church Connect tab that Wes clicked on a second ago, click that blue Customize Your Link hyperlink right above the URL our system gives you. Our system's URL is just a series of letters and numbers, but you can add your church's name or some other thing that's more cohesive with your organization. Now for this church, it's this is the New Potential Church, right?
New Potential Church.
So we'll just use the acronym NPC.
I hope this is available. Let's see.
All right, it's available. Okay,
all right.
So this link, this URL is available. We can go ahead and choose that as the account keyword. Are you sure you want to? Click
yes.
OK. All right. So now our URL is npc.churchtrac.com. So now your church's name or acronym can be added to that URL, and you can share that with your members. Now you can also share or download the QR code. There's that blue button right next to the QR code, download the code. So all you have to do is click on that. It'll download it to your computer or whatever device you're on, and then you can start adding that to any of your other material.
Awesome. Now we talked about how to share it. Now let's actually talk about the specifics of sharing. Like, what are some ways that we can share our URL and our QR code?
Yeah, where some good places to put that content?
Yeah.
So for like the URL, you can put that up on social media. You could add it to a bulletin, especially if it's a digital bulletin that people share, like maybe in an email.
Yeah.
You can put it on print media. You can connect it to a button on your website. So you can make a button on that website that you're using, if you like using your website.
Yeah.
And therefore create a link that drives people over to the Church Connect page. You can link it to your Google My Business listing as well, so that anytime someone looks up your account or your church on Google, that URL, that link will be right there for them to click on and take them right to your website from there.
And that's probably one of the most powerful ways of sharing it, I would say.
Yeah,
we even have a blog about it.
Yeah, we recently created a blog post about how to add your church to the map. So go ahead and go to our blog and read that article. It's got a lot of really useful information. And when it comes to the QR code, you can download that and then put it on the bulletins that you hand out to people as they walk in the church, and they can just scan it from there. You could put it like on an announcement slide before and after service. You could put it up on the big screen during a service. Maybe your pastor could put that QR code up there and direct people to a form to fill out during a sermon. You can put it really anywhere else you can think of. Just paint the town.
Yeah,
paint the town with with T-shirts, business cards, or little cards you hand out to new guests. Just paint the town with it.
All right. So now let's talk about actually customizing everything on your Church Connect, because at the end of the day, you want your Church Connect to be your own. And so let's show you some of the ways we can do that. So when it comes to customizing my Church Connect, I always like to show everyone these settings real fast. So remember, Church Connect is the hub of your church, and you can allow your people to do so many different things in Church Connect that are way beyond what I just briefly showed you. But you can allow people to actually access their profile and upload their own profile picture if you want to do that. People can look at upcoming events, giving history, so your people can actually download their giving history at any time, which is really handy.
Yeah, they can download their contribution statement any time of year.
Yes, which makes life so much easier. You can enable the online directory if this is something that your church wants to utilize. We even have a photo directory. And then you can even notify a specific ChurchTrac user every time someone registers with Church Connect. And you can also change the language. So if your church is primarily a Spanish-speaking church, you can actually enable Espanol as well. So I just like to quickly show that real fast. That way everyone's kind of familiar with the settings. Now let's talk about the Connect page options. So when you click the Connect page options, you can actually choose whether or not you want your logo to be displayed on Church Connect, which we'll talk about that in a minute because that's a big deal. You can also have a main heading, a subheading. You can customize your background color, and then you can also create your own app icon in which you can drag and drop into here. And so that app icon that you saw that I clicked on my phone earlier, I just created that in a free photo editing program I found online, and then I just dragged and dropped it in there. And so I'm actually going to do that right now here, Matt. So I have got a photo that I created here, and then I'm just going to drag and drop that icon in there, and there we go.
Boom, there it is. Wow, that was easy.
Yeah, super easy. So now I'm done with that part of it. And so that's just kind of getting things initially set up there between the settings and the page options.
Well, before you go any further, we got to talk about adding the logo to Church Connect.
Yes.
So do you want to go over the admin settings?
Yes, let's go ahead and do that.
So this is something that you got to do before you go any further with building Church Connect, just to make sure your church's logo is at the top of the Church Connect screen. So go ahead, Wes, click that Admin Settings tab at the top of the screen. And then at the bottom of this screen where it says Your Church Logo, you can drag or drop a JPEG or a PNG file here. And we recommend this just because there's really a lot of reasons why we recommend adding your logo. It'll put that logo at the top of some reports that you can generate, like contribution statements in ChurchTrac.
Yep.
But also, this is where our system is pulling from this file to add your church's logo to the top of the Church Connect page.
Whoops, I accidentally dragged it in the wrong place. Let me do that again. There we go. And then I just drag and drop.
There we go. All right.
That's it.
So there. Now your church logo is added here. You can now opt to add that logo to the top of your Church Connect page.
And so when I go to my Church Connect, and that's going to be under my page options, and it already is checked, show your logo on the Connect page. So great. Got that.
So next up, we want to talk about what are Connect cards. You'll notice on the right-hand side of the screen on this Church Connect tab, there's this list of cards. You can add more cards or remove any of these demo cards from your Church Connect page to customize it and make it as functional and as cohesive with what you want your church to have as you want. There are all kinds of different cards you can have in Church Connect. This will make a little more sense in a minute, but I'll just go ahead and list off some of these cards so you get an idea of what's available for you. You have page cards. A page card is literally when someone taps or clicks on that card on the screen, takes them to another page on Church Connect. The link card, you can link other websites to Church Connect. So maybe you want to share your social media pages,
Yep.
You can link to those. There are form cards. You can create forms for people to fill out and register on your Church Connect page. An event card is for on that events and attendance screen on your ChurchTrac profile. If you list an event on that calendar, you can then add that event to your Church Connect page and then prompt people to register to attend that event. The giving card is for online donations. Attendance card is for an individual to submit their attendance for an event so that people can track their attendance for you in Church Connect. A quote card is just to add a little quote, maybe a Bible verse like that Amazing Grace. Those lyrics there, you can add that to your Church Connect page as well. And then gallery card is just if you want to add maybe a bunch of pictures for an event that occurred and you just want to share those pictures, you can put that on Church Connect as well with the gallery card.
Yeah, and I've also seen a lot of churches use that as their staff page where they'll just put pictures of the people on staff.
Yeah. So like a bio page or something like that, yeah.
Yeah, so there's a lot of different ways that you can use cards for different purposes within. Awesome. Well, let's talk about creating your card here. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is click this button here that says New Card. And I'll just zoom in just in case you're watching on a smaller device. New card. And so this is where I would create a new card. And so the first step is I want to name a card. And so maybe I want to name this one our Facebook group. And then you want to select the type of card that you want to use. And in this situation, this is a link card because this card is taking people to a specific URL that I want to put in. And so I can select link card here. And then I just click add this card. And so now the card has been added. And then the next step really is just going through and editing that specific card for whatever I need to do to edit it. And so I can go ahead and let's say I want to edit the card and I want to put a picture in here because people are visual and I like to use pictures to help kind of guide people what I want them to do. And so I have this cool little Facebook group picture that I had made. And so I'm just going to drag and drop that in here. And there we go. So I just put a picture in there. So that's what's going to show up. Now I could put like a title here. I could put additional information that really describes what's going on this card. It really just comes down to how you want your card to look, what you're trying to accomplish. And then from here I can then also put in the URL for this one since this is a link card. And so I can say facebook.com. Obviously you'd want to put in your own church's Facebook URL, but that's just to show you. Now, one other thing that I want to make very obvious to everyone is this thing called the card status. Mm-hmm. And card status is really interesting because what this does is it enables you to have a card that's displayed until a certain date, which is super handy for events or certain things that you want to expire after a certain time. Right now, I just have the date blank because I want it to always be displayed. But then you can also have a card be displayed when a member is logged in or displayed when a member is not logged in. And so depending on whether or not someone is logged into Church Connect as a member of your church, they can have cards that are visible or not visible to them, which is really cool.
Nice. It's almost like having two different websites in one.
It's exactly what it is, Matt.
Because depending on whether they are a member or a visitor, they're logged in or not, they can have a totally different experience with Church Connect.
Yes, they can. And this is something we see most churches start experimenting with. Because as you'll find, there are certain cards that your members don't really need to see that guests need to see, such as maybe like the location of your church, perhaps, if you have a card showing that. Maybe you have a card that's like an About Us card, which is really great for people that are visiting your church for the first time, but maybe someone who goes to your church all the time, they're a member, they're logging in, they probably don't need to see that. And so it just makes it really nice to be able to cater that experience to exactly the person who is logging in or not logging in. So let's walk through, now that I've showed you how to do one card, just one type of card, I want to walk through the process of making a couple additional cards here. Because right now, if we look at our Church Connect page, and the way to do that right here from my computer is I just click this little button here, and I'll zoom in just in case you can't see it there.
That's the button at the end of that little window for your URL.
Yeah, and you could always just copy and paste this in another window, but if I just click this, that'll actually open up my Church Connect in another tab. And right now you can see my page. It looks a little bit different than it does on a cell phone because I have so much more real estate I can take advantage of. But I've got a couple sample cards here, and then there's that one card I just created. There's my church logo that we just put in a second ago in the settings. So now I've got that visible. And always check out my Know, Grow, and Sow. Isn't that a cool headline?
Nice. Rhymes. I love it.
Yeah. So that is what it looks like right now. Obviously, we want this to look way better. We want this to look like the one I originally showed just a minute ago. And so let's get to making some of our cards here. So let's start with our connection card. We have a sample connection card already here. And so if I click this card, I can go ahead and start editing it. And one thing I want to show with, this is a form card, so where people can actually fill out a form. You can go here and edit the form fields and give your people the ability to enter whatever type of data it is that you're asking from them. And so I always like to just quickly show that. We have some videos that are dedicated just to form cards, so I'd encourage you to check those out so that way you can learn how to create some really cool forms within your Church Connect. So you can edit all of it right there. But I want to go ahead, I want to change the way this card looks, Matt, because it just looks lame.
Yeah, it's gray. I mean, when we were looking at the Connect page just a second ago, it was all gray and drab and boring.
So let's make it awesome.
Give it some pop. Come on.
All right, so edit card. Now what I'm going to do, I want to put my own image in here just like I did with that one with Facebook earlier. And so I'm going to go ahead and delete that title, and I'm going to delete the card content. And the reason I'm doing this is because I don't need any of this because I'm putting my own image that I made custom. So I've got all that deleted. So now I'm going to go ahead back to the image that I created here. And I have this really cool image that I made to get people to connect with us. So I'm going to drag and drop that in here. And there we go.
Boom, there it is. Makes it obvious, draws your attention, grabs your attention so people would want to click on it. I like it.
Yeah. And so there we go. It's all done. And again, there's a lot of different options that we give you. So if you are in a situation where maybe you don't want to use images, maybe you're just wanting to create more generic buttons because you've made this more so just kind of a member portal and that's it, you can do that as well. So now I've got that created and you can see my form card. But one thing I do want to point out, it's hidden right now. And so we need to unhide it. So what I do is I click that card, and then I scroll down to card status, and we want to display until date below, and we're going to leave that date blank because we want it to be displayed at all times. So there we go. So I'll hit close, and so now that is displayed. So if I go back to my Church Connect page, so I'll open that again, we're going to see that there it is.
Wow, it's looking better already.
Yeah, way better. That's awesome. All right, so let's go ahead and let's dive into creating a couple more. So I created a Connect card. Maybe I'll do an About Us card. I think that would be a good one to do.
For new guests and visitors, yeah.
Yeah.
Give them some information about the church.
And so that's going to be a page card. And so what I'll do, we actually already have a page card as a sample, and it's already displayed. So I'm going to edit this one. So what we'll do is we'll click the card, and then we're going to select Edit Card. And then from here I can drag and drop a picture. And you know what I'm doing. I'm dragging and dropping a picture that I made because I made a really cool one that says About Us. So let's get that one in here. So drag and drop. There we go.
Nice.
So that one's going to our team here. And from here I can go ahead and edit it. And again, this one I'm taking off all the text. Now depending on your situation, you may utilize text to let people know more specifically what's in that card and everything. But for my purposes, I just want the image. And then I can go and edit the page content. And this is what's so cool about a page card is it gives you the ability to have people click on a card, opens up another web page, or then you can type out some information here, maybe provide people with links to additional things, whatever it may be. What are some situations you've seen people use the page card, Matt?
Page cards, I've seen churches use this to add like sermon notes or extra sermon content.
Oh, that's a good idea.
I've seen them add not just an Our Team card or an About Us card, but another card for like their mission and their vision, so they can add that information there as well.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of some other examples. I've seen churches have like a blog, a little micro blog.
Yes, I've seen a lot of churches do that. So there's so many different ways that you can utilize some of these cards, and those are just a couple examples there. But again, I'd encourage you, just jump on that Facebook group if you ever need some inspiration, and you'll get some for sure. So we've done that one, Matt, but I am not content. I want more. So let's go ahead. I need people to be able to give online to my church.
Oh, yeah.
So let's do that.
That's super important.
So I'm going to go ahead and create a giving card. And so I'll click New Card here. And then I will name this Giving. And then under card type, it's actually going to be the giving card. And I'll select that. And here's what's so cool is whenever you configure online giving with ChurchTrac, everything is already set up. So if I already have it configured, I click Add This Card. It is ready to go. So when people click that card, it takes them straight to online giving with ChurchTrac. If you want to learn more about online giving, just check out our online user guide, and it walks through the process of setting it up. It's really easy to set up. It only takes about 20 minutes, and you can start accepting donations today with your church. Now, again, Matt, what do you think I'm going to do to customize this card?
Oh, I don't know, Wes. Are you going to add an image?
Yes. So, edit card. And again, I'm going to go ahead and add an image here. I think I created a really cool one for giving. There it is. Nice. So I will drag and drop this over here and add that.
Ooh, that's good.
I know, isn't that clean?
I like it.
And by the way, I am not a person that knows how to use Photoshop very well or any program for that matter. It did not take me very long to make this. And if you need some resources and everything, just check out our Church Connect FAQs. we have some great resources that will show you just some places where you can find some images. All right, so I've got that one created here, Matt. That's awesome. And I'll just double check real quick just to make sure it's displayed. Yes. I don't want to hide this card. I want this card to always be visible here.
Yeah, for everybody.
Now let's see here. All right, so we made that. We made the Facebook link card. Ooh, I want people to register for an event.
Oh, okay. So doing an event card.
Yes. So, and just a quick recap, you want to create that event on the calendar in ChurchTrac. So on your actual calendar, if I go to events and attendance, you see I have this cookout that's on the 26th, so that's next weekend. If I click that and go to the setup and registrations, I can quickly navigate to the event options just to double check, make sure this is a public event so it allows registration. And so that event, it's there, it's ready. So now all I have to do is I go to Church Connect. So back to settings, and then to Church Connect.
And then add the new card.
That's right, add the new card. So click the new card. And then what type of card do you think it's going to be, Matt?
There are event cards.
That's right.
There we go, because it's an event.
we try to make it simple for people like me. So now what I'm going to do is name this card, and we're going to call this Cookout. There we go. So Cookout, event card, add this card. Now here's what's cool about event cards is it actually automatically pulls information from the event. So if you already like put a description or a picture or something like that, it's going to pull it. So now, right now, the card has nothing in the preview because I don't have an event selected. So I'm going to select Cookout. So it's selected. And here's what's neat is I can hide this card after a certain date. What do you think I'm going to do?
You're gonna select either the day of or at least the day after as the date.
Exactly, because I do not want to be like one church I was working with the other day that had a cookout that was, I think it was 2 years ago.
Yeah, like a July 4th cookout or something.
Yeah, it was like a July 4th cookout, and it was from 2 years ago, and I was just like, oh man. So
I mean, I'm sure that cookout was great and fun.
They're still talking about it.
That barbecue was magical.
So now I'm going to hide this card. So, yeah, I got to all right, think through my brain. So it's happening on the 26th, so I'll hide it on the 27th. So that way it disappears. And then hit close. All right, so now if I scroll down real quick, there's that. Look at that picture.
Look at that picture.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I wish
Makes
I
me want to go eat
cool.
lunch.
Second lunch, right?
Yeah.
All right, so we've added a lot of different cards here, Matt. If I go here and open up my Connect page now, we can see
it's already looking way different. Wow.
It looks so much better.
Yeah.
And again, I just want to reiterate, I did not spend a crazy amount of time making these images, and I'm not a Photoshop master by any means. I see a lot of churches, in fact, take this approach that I did with the Facebook card, where they just quickly throw on the text and the little icon or something, or just use an image they found online somewhere and just throw it in and be done with it.
Yep.
Whatever you want to do, it's really easy. So we've got all those cards, but you know, Matt, I know on a phone, this is the first thing I think of on Church Connect, is on a phone screen, I'm not going to have this. And so it's going to be one card at a time.
That's right, yeah.
So I probably...
There's only one column of cards, yeah.
And there's certain cards I definitely want to place a little bit higher emphasis on than others. And so I should probably reorder them.
Yeah, you can rearrange your cards. And the benefit of that is whenever someone is accessing it on their phone, which is going to be the majority of people visiting Church Connect, you can just drag and drop these cards on the screen up and down. And you want to orient them so that the most important cards, or at least the cards you want people to interact with the most, are at the top.
Yeah. This toggle previews, I want to make everyone aware of this little option here. So when you're trying to move cards around and everything, I would highly recommend doing that just because cards do take up some real estate in your screen and it makes it hard to move them up and down. And so just click that toggle preview button and then you'll hover over this little arrow that Matt had kind of briefly mentioned, and then I can move cards around. Now, as far as what order, I mean, there's no magical order of cards, but I would think in terms of what are the most common things that people are accessing your church's website and app for. In most cases, it's giving is a big one, and so I may want that one to be up pretty high. So I'll put that one up high. Another one is like a connection card of some sort.
Yeah, especially for guests if you want to gather their info.
So we'll keep moving that giving card up. I have that connection card here, which was named sample form card, which I actually want to rename. I don't like that name. So let's make this connection card.
There we go.
All right. And we'll make that one the first one just because I think that's like the most important one for our ministry. We want people to get connected first. And then from here, maybe I can have the About Us card, and then we'll have the giving. And so you can really just customize this the way you want it. Now, one thing we get asked all the time, and that is how many cards is too many cards?
Well, first of all, the first question is how many cards are you allowed to have? And that is, it's unlimited. You can have as many cards as you want. But we recommend you don't add 20, 30, 40 cards just because people would have to scroll for forever to find the one thing that they're looking for. Our recommendation is once you've hit about a dozen cards, you've probably hit the recommended max.
Yeah. Now, every ministry is different, and you may have some additional cards that you want to provide for your members and everything, and that's cool. But just kind of keep in the back of your mind that most of your people are going to be accessing Church Connect from their cell phone, and you don't want them feeling like they're on Instagram whenever, just the endless scroll as they go through our Church Connect pages.
And also, again, keep in mind, you can have some cards display for members and other cards display for non-members who aren't logged in. So if you're feeling like you have to pick and choose some cards to display, just think through maybe some cards are only relevant for some people who are accessing Church Connect and make it so that that card only displays for them. That way you can have more than 12 cards, but less than 12 cards for a particular user.
Now, that's kind of just the quick overview, hence the name Crash Course in Church Connect. Just a couple other random things I do want to show everybody just because these are important things. So when people fill out these form responses, those form responses, they actually are going to go right here. So if you click View Form Responses, they're going to show up here, and you can easily print those out, or you can just generate a PDF of those. So that's where you find those form responses. And another thing, too, is when people are accessing your Church Connect, you can actually manage your Church Connect logins right here. And so that way, if you select this, you can see who all has logged in, the last time they logged in, and you can even set a global directory access for people as well if you're wanting to utilize the directory. And so this is Church Connect. Lots going on here. Let's talk about some of the other common questions that we get asked. We get asked a lot of questions, and we want to address some of the real big ones right here, right now. So, Matt, first question for you. Does Church Connect cost extra?
The answer is no. In fact, that was a question I think somebody asked in chat, or maybe a couple people asked in chat. Church Connect is included at no extra cost for every standard or plus subscription. So if you have either of those two subscriptions in ChurchTrac, you have Church Connect available for you already.
Yep. All right. Another common question that we get asked is online giving included with Church Connect?
Online giving is included with Church Connect in the sense that if you have a Stripe account and you integrate it with ChurchTrac, then yes, you can have that on your Church Connect page.
Yeah, all built in there. And some people also ask me kind of to piggyback on that. They say, well, what's the difference between online giving and Church Connect? There is no difference. It's the same place that you go.
Yes. So there's no extra fee to include online giving. If you already have that Stripe account, and Stripe doesn't charge you to have an account on their platform either. They simply charge a fee for every transaction. So if you have that account with Stripe, you integrate it with ChurchTrac, you can go ahead and just put that right on your Church Connect page, and people can start giving right away.
All right, here's a really good one. Where can I find images to use for my Connect page cards? This is probably one I get asked every day, man.
Yeah, so there are a lot of free image databases you can find that allow you to download pictures as long as you're just giving the originator credit. Yeah. Unsplash.com is a popular one. I think Pexels, is that another one?
Yeah, Pexels is one.
Churchmediadrop.com is another one. We have a few listed here. Creationswap.com. ProChurchMedia.com. Honestly, there's a lot of options. You could probably Google some and find some of your own outside of the list we've given you. So go ahead and search around and see what you find.
Yeah. And again, this is a great opportunity to just jump into the ChurchTrac user group and ask other people where they found their images for their Connect card. I just saw one, I think it was a couple months ago, where someone asked, and I saw some cool resources I'd never even heard of before.
Yeah.
So it seems
the internet's a huge place. There's lots of websites out there. So go ahead and search or join our group and ask for some recommendations.
Now, here's another question I get asked a lot from ministries, and that is, where can I find a free photo editing program? Because if you want to take your Church Connect to the next level and make it really clean, kind of the way I was showing, you do need to have your photos and actually edit them in a certain way to make everything conducive. There are actually a lot of amazing resources online. You don't have to spend a gazillion dollars for Photoshop and some of these other really high-end programs and learn how to use those. There's Pixlr, Photor, F-O-T-O-R, I think it is.
Yeah.
Canva is probably one of the most
super
popular ones I see.
Yeah, I use Pixlr. I'm actually in charge of my ChurchTrac Connect or ChurchTrac account for my church. And I use Pixlr.com for all of my photo editing because I love it because they have a really simple version and a more complex, a full-fledged, fully fleshed out version of the photo editing software. And both of those versions are free.
Yeah. So there's a lot of great free resources. To kind of dive into more of the Church Connect facts, I would encourage you, just click that green help button within ChurchTrac. And then just click Show All Help Topics.
Well, they have the Church Connect FAQs article linked right there on the screen.
And that's exactly where I was going to go.
Yeah.
See, look at that. So if you click that Church Connect Facts, so that will bring up our article where we talk about just a lot of the frequently asked questions of Church Connect, which many of these I've already addressed. But this is great just because some of those resources that we were just mentioning, Unsplash, Church Media Drop, or Pixlr, Photor, those are right there, so you can actually click to them. So there you go. One thing, this is probably something I need to just quickly mention on a side note. Sometimes I see churches, they'll just Google search images, and then they'll just take that image, throw it in their Church Connect, and be done with it. You want to be careful with that just because a lot of images are copyrighted on Google. And so if you're using a copyrighted image without the permissions, then they'll probably end up sending you an email at some point saying, hey, we noticed you're using our image. Can you please stop using it or pay us? So a good way to avoid that is just not do it all to begin with. All right. Well, Matt, we covered a lot of material here.
Yeah, we covered a lot of ground.
I mean, we tried so hard to take, we've done multiple webinars just on little tiny aspects of Church Connect, everything from form cards to registrations to online giving.
And you can find these videos on our YouTube channel. Go to youtube.com, search ChurchTrac Software, subscribe. Yes. You'll find all those there.
Yes, there's so many videos on our YouTube channel. And one thing I always like to tell everyone, when it comes to searching videos on YouTube, you can actually click that search bar on YouTube, just to show everybody that real fast, and then you can search for specific videos. So if I want to search something about accounting, I can search accounting on YouTube, and there we go. There's our accounting basics video, getting started with accounting. It's a great resource.
Another thing you can do is click that playlist tab.
Okay.
And then from here we have playlists where we group videos by feature. So there's Church Connect tutorials near the right. Yeah, you can click that view full playlist button right below that. Well, you're just starting a video, but if you click the view on the right-hand side, there's that list of 11 videos. Yeah, if you click view full playlist right below,
gotcha.
Takes you to the list of all the videos. So from here, you can search and select specific videos for the topic you want to cover. We have a video for each type of card. So you can watch a whole entire video about a specific type of card and how to use it, how to create it, all of that.
Yeah, so there is no shortage of videos and support in our online user guide that walk you through all that. But again, just to encourage everybody, our support team is awesome here at ChurchTrac. Our ministry is your ministry, and we want to do everything we can to help you. And so all you got to do is click that resources tab or the green help button, go to our support channel, and from there you can create a support ticket or schedule a phone call. It's all free. We don't charge for support. Well, we covered a lot, and I want to just open the floor for questions. So let's do this. Let's close down the chat. I know a lot of people are still chatting around there. Close down the chat, and we're going to open up something called our Q&A mode. And so we have entered a time of Q&A where we're going to go ahead and answer your questions about Church Connect. And our team is letting you know kind of how to use Q&A real quick. All you have to do is just type out your question in that Q&A mode, and that way we can go ahead and see that. So Q&A mode, it's open. And again, just to reiterate, that Facebook group, the YouTube channel, such a great place to just find resources to help you as you navigate through all of this. All right. And here we go. The questions are coming in. Matt, are you ready for us to start?
Here we go. All right. First one. Go ahead and click the answer button. Here we go. So pop up on the screen. How do we find the app in the App Store? The answer is you won't. There are two types of apps. And this is getting a little in the weeds, but there are native apps and there are web apps. A native app is the kind of app you would find in an app store like a Facebook app. But our app, excuse me, I can't talk today. Our app is a web app, meaning you can go to the website and then just add the app to your home screen to your phone. Wes, are you about to demonstrate?
I'm going to show.
Do I need to step off?
Yeah, let's
All
just
right.
show everybody. So just to quickly show everybody how that works. So I open up the camera app on my phone, and then I just zoom in on the QR code, and it takes me to a website. And this website right here that it took me to is my Church Connect page. And right here it's prompting me to add it to my home screen. And so if I click that button and then I add it to the home screen, what it's going to do is it's pulled my app icon. Look at that. So there's that app icon that I just added in a minute ago. I click add. And now it has added it to my home screen. So there it is right there. Connect. And so your people don't have to go to the App Store to find it or anything. It is simply just scanning that QR code. When it pulls up, they visit it for the first time. It'll actually prompt them to add it to their phone's home screen, and it's added to their phone, ready to go. And that is how you do it. So that is a good question. All right, let's see here. So I would like to see how an attendance card works from Jay White. So what we can, there's a few different things going on to show how it works, but let me just quickly show you the process of creating it real fast. So I go to my settings on Church Connect, and I'll just create a new card real fast. And then in this case, this is going to be attendance. And then I'll click attendance card, click add this card. And again, I can customize this card however I want it to look. In this case, you know what? I'm going to take a different approach, and I'm going to just call this attendance. And then right here, I'll put a background. Let's do a background of green, success, green. And then we'll do center it out. So we'll center out that text and then click preview card. So now it's just a big green button that shows up attendance. Now, in order to use the attendance card, a couple things have to happen. Number one, you have to have an attendance event going on that particular day that you want your people to be able to record their attendance for. Number two, you have to have your people properly tagged ahead of time. So if you want to learn how to do that, just check out some of our videos of setting up attendance and tracking attendance, and we walk you through that process. But once you have an attendance event that's happening on that day with people that are tagged, if that person logs into Church Connect and they have that particular tag on that particular day, that card will show up and they can click the attendance card and track their attendance for that. And so that's the quick version of how to do that.
Any way to post sermons through this? The answer is yes, actually.
Yes.
You can add a page card and then add an iframe for a playlist of sermons. Maybe you have a sermon playlist on Spotify, like a Spotify podcast, or there are some other platforms I've seen and I'm blanking on them.
There are so many.
Yeah.
So many. I would say probably one of the easiest ways to do this in Church Connect is the same way that I created that link card for my Facebook group. I would just create a link card. And so again, you create a new card, and then I'll call this sermons. And then we're going to call this a link card. Because a lot of times churches have a specific place that they have their sermons live, whether it's on YouTube, whether it is on Spotify or Anchor or wherever their podcasts are. There's so many places where your live stream or your podcast can be. And so I would just make it as a link card for simplicity's sake. Add the card, and then you just copy and paste that link that goes to wherever that is living at, and then just edit the card to, jazz it up, maybe put a picture or something cool, and have it displayed always. And so that would be the easiest way to do it. That's what I would recommend.
Gary asks, can I stream video from our Facebook by embedding to Church Connect?
That's a good question, Gary. So at this time, no. Now you can still create a link card and have it to where people can click that link card and it goes right to your Facebook live stream. But as far as showing the stream right there as soon as they go on Church Connect, that's currently not something we offer. But I encourage you, create a support ticket and create a feature request and ask our team if that's something that we can implement. We listen to our churches, and when we get enough churches asking for certain features, we try our best to implement them. So just let us know.
Is Church Connect also a website? Yes, it is a full-fledged website. You can use this as your church's website if you want. If you don't have a website already, or you want to switch from the website you're currently using to Church Connect, you can do that. Another question, we'll go ahead and answer it now. Let's see. Well, no, that wasn't something in the Q&A, but I saw something in the chat earlier. Is it still smart to use this if you have a website? And the answer is yes, because it's also a member portal. So if you have a website and you want to keep it, you can still use Church Connect. Just share it with your members and have them use it to have a profile where they can access their giving history and update their profile information and everything else.
Yeah, and this is something we work with a lot of churches that have great websites, or maybe their website's good, but it just isn't the best for their members. And so what they do is they just put a button on their website, and then they just have that button point to Church Connect. And it gives you the best of both worlds, where you can have a website that you've already spent the time and money to make and everything. That's kind of your front-facing thing. And then Church Connect is more so your app and your member portal for your people.
All right, so next question. Can we have an event card without a registration link just to notify people? That's a good question.
So let me think. So Jen's saying, can we have an event card without a registration link?
Basically, because you can go to the event and then set up registration and make it public.
Oh, okay,
so
I see.
if it's not public, it doesn't have that URL. Can you still add that to Church Connect? And I think the answer is yes. There just won't be a prompt to register.
All right, so Jen, I think I know where you're coming from. You're wanting to basically put something on Church Connect that lets your people know about something you have coming up, but you don't necessarily need them to register for it. You just want them to know. For that, I would say probably, let's go to our cards here. So I'm going to create a new card. If you're wanting something that's very utilitarian and just straight up says, hey, this is going on, a quote card, perhaps.
Well, don't forget, there's also the upcoming events when someone logs in.
That's the other thing, too. When someone logs in, they can see the upcoming events. So there's a few different ways you could do it. You could either use that quote card and then type out the information of the event. You could create a page card where it basically just, when people click it, then it just gives them the details of the event. So there's a lot of different ways to do it. I've even seen some churches create a basic form card just so people can fill out a form, but it's not tied to an event per se. Mm-hmm. It's just a quick form so they can get a head count real quick.
Yep.
So a lot of ways you can do it. Reach out to our support team if you want to dive into that more. We'll work through you on that.
All right, Doug asks, when we introduce Church Connect to our church, how do I show my phone screen on our display?
That is a good question, Doug. So, Doug, probably what I would recommend, go to our Facebook group and talk to them about how they have shared it. In fact, I saw a post not too long ago where one of our moderators actually did something pretty cool with a video and stuff and how they showed it. So jump in there and ask them. But yeah, there's a few different ways.
All right, Tommy asks, can you have a gallery card or gallery view for the cards, at least 4 at a time? The only difference between the views of these cards is whether someone's looking on a phone or on a desktop. So if they're on the phone, you got 1 column of cards that they can scroll through. If they're on a desktop, they got 3 columns of cards. And those are the only 2 different ways to display cards. All right, Anonymous says, I downloaded the app, but it's showing the potential church stuff, not the Church Connect I created on ChurchTrac. So did you scan the QR code when Wes displayed it, or
that might have been, if you scan the QR code that I was showing, that was my QR code.
Yeah.
So this is something I probably need to reiterate just to remind everyone. So this QR code that you have in your Church Connect, so I'll go back to Church Connect here on my settings. So you've got your own URL, so you get to customize your own URL, and then this QR code is specific to your ministry. And so that way, anybody who goes to that QR code, it goes to your church's Church Connect. So the one you're looking at right now, this is my QR code. And so unless you want people to go to my church's Church Connect, you only use your own QR code.
All right, Cassie says, okay, I made our Connect page and have the church logo going across the top. I need to add our new logo. So yes, if your church has a new logo, go ahead and add that to your admin settings page. Also, you can update your Church Connect app icon, so you can add your church's logo to the app icon as well.
Yeah, and I just want to show that again, just because this is such a big deal. So to get to your admin settings, you go to Settings in ChurchTrac, and then you click the Admin Settings tab. Now, if you don't have access to the admin settings, if you're not an administrator, you will need to reach out to your ChurchTrac administrator. But then right here, this is where you would, so if you currently have a logo in there, you would just click the Remove button, and then you would go ahead and re-add your new logo. Mm-hmm. And I always encourage, make sure it's a PNG format, just because PNGs, they're transparent, they look so much better. because sometimes what I see what happens is a church will use a JPEG, and then on their Church Connect page, that JPEG, just to quickly, let's see if I can show you what I'm talking about visually here. So when I open up my Church Connect, if I use, let's say I used a different background color, and then this image right here, if I used a JPEG, it would still have a white background and everything. So if I had like blue as my background and then I used a JPEG, then it would just be this like white box with my logo in there, and it just wouldn't look that good. So that's why we always encourage using a PNG file for that.
Okay, so if the person is not tagged for the event, how do we get their attendance? Well, Jan, they need to be tagged. Tags are really important for running attendance reports in ChurchTrac. So again, Wes mentioned it earlier when we talked about running an attendance report. There are videos on our YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. You can also go to our online user guide and find an article on tags and how to utilize them for running attendance.
Yeah.
So there's lots of resources for how to use tags in ChurchTrac. So I recommend you go to those places and look at those.
Yeah, and if you need additional help, just reach out to our support team, and maybe we can schedule like a Zoom workshop with you for half an hour, and we can just kind of walk through this and screen share. At the end of that, you'll definitely be able to utilize it for sure. So we're going to do everything we can to help you.
All right, how can I set an online giving card for guests as opposed to members? So when it comes to online giving, you can allow non-members, people not logged in, to access the giving and to donate to your church. We recommend only only members have access to that giving card just for security, and also because when people give, it's automatically matched to their profile on the People Family screen, added to their contribution statement. It's all seamless and streamlined from there.
Yeah. One thing I always like to point out too is whenever people are registering for your Church Connect, if you don't already have their email address, it won't automatically match them. And so you'll actually get a notification when you go onto your people screen asking you if you want to match them. And so I always like to encourage churches with that. If you don't recognize a registration, if you're looking at it and you're like, I have no idea who this is, that it's trying to register, then you can always limit them.
United Methodist Church asks, I am a visual person. Is there somewhere I can see a Church Connect page? Yes, I mean, besides this video here, which we'll have on the YouTube channel in a couple days, 2 or 3 days from now, you can go to our YouTube channel and find other videos on Church Connect. Yeah. You can go to our online user guide and find all sorts of articles, and there are a lot of videos attached to those articles. So if you're a visual learner and you're reading an article, you have that visual component there. So there are a couple different places you can find that. Also, again, just another plug, our Facebook group.
And I was going to say, we will go ahead and post a link to our Church Connect page that we use for demo purposes and everything, so you can actually access that on your own. So just check out the Facebook group for that.
Yeah, but you can also ask others for recommendations or inspiration or screenshots or links. Lots of users in that Facebook group love doing ministry so much that they would love to help you do your ministry as well. So they love sharing, love helping you, giving recommendations and everything else. So go ahead and join that group if you haven't already.
All right. Well, I think that's all the questions. We tore through a bunch of questions there, Matt.
Love it.
I think this is what makes this format so fun is we try to take this live aspect of showing you the software, but then actually do Q&A and everything at the end. And we get some really good questions. And
we had a really good group today.
Yes.
You guys were a lot of fun.
Yes, kudos to all of you. All right, well, it is that time, everybody. We've gone through a lot of material. We've answered a lot of questions, and it is time for us to go. But let not your heart be troubled. If you do need help in the future, we're just a quick support ticket, a quick scheduled phone call, quick email away. We're easy to get in touch with. So with that being said, have a great rest of your week, and we will talk to you soon.